My wife cheated on me with our horrible neighbor while I was paralyzed. I don't know how to confront her. I never thought my life would turn into something you'd read in the darkest corner of Reddit. But here we are. My wife, Anna, 34 female, and I, 36 male, have been married for 9 years. We weren't perfect, but we were partners. We built a life together from scratch, scraping by in our early 20s, working long hours, skipping vacations to save for our first home. When I was promoted to project manager and she opened her small floral shop, we felt unstoppable. Before everything happened, I was active. Hiking on weekends, playing basketball with friends, even helping coach my nephew's soccer team. Then last year, a freak accident at work changed everything. A support beam fell during a renovation project. I tried to move, but it caught my lower back. I woke up in the hospital to the news that I had a spinal cord injury. The doctors told me I was paralyzed from the waist down. I thought my life was over right there. Anna stepped in as my caregiver. She fed me, helped me shower, drove me to appointments. I hated being dependent on anyone, but I trusted her with everything. She was my rock, or so I thought. Our next-door neighbor, Mark, late 30s, was the kind of guy you avoid at neighborhood BBQs. Loud, always bragging about his business ventures, which I'm 99% sure were just scams. He had a history of flirting with women in front of their husbands. I caught him giving Anna a little too much attention a few times, laughing too hard at his jokes, standing too close, but she'd brush it off. "You're imagining things, babe." About 3 months ago, I started noticing changes in Anna. She began dressing up more to run errands, wearing makeup even for a quick trip to the store. She'd be gone for hours with vague explanations. One night, while she was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I shouldn't have looked, but something in my gut told me to. The message preview made my stomach drop. Last night was amazing. Can't wait for round 2. The sender, Mark. My hands shook as I unlocked her phone. The thread was full of messages I can't unsee, flirting, explicit photos, even conversations about me. Mark joked that I was dead from the waist down, and she replied with laughing emojis. I don't think I've ever felt so humiliated in my life. I didn't confront her right away. I couldn't. I wanted to believe there was some other explanation, something less disgusting than what I saw. But deep down, I knew. The worst moment came a week later. I had rolled myself into the living room to watch TV. The blinds weren't fully closed, and through the small gap, I saw Anna and Mark in our backyard. They were kissing, laughing, holding each other like I didn't even exist. I couldn't move. Not just physically. I was frozen with rage, heartbreak, disbelief. They were 10 feet away, and all I could do was sit there in my chair, invisible in my own home. I have never felt so powerless. When she came inside later, she acted normal. Asked if I wanted tea. Sat on the couch, scrolling on her phone. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. For the past few weeks, I've been living in this nightmare, pretending I don't know. Every time she touches me, I want to recoil. Every time she says she's running to the store, I hear her phone buzzing in my head. I've even started wondering if the neighbor's smirk whenever he sees me is intentional. His way of reminding me that he's winning. I don't know how to confront her. I'm still physically weak. I can't pack up and leave easily. My family lives hours away, and I haven't told them because, honestly, I'm embarrassed. I never imagined I'd be that guy. The one who's being cheated on and doing nothing about it. I keep thinking about before the accident, how we used to laugh until midnight, how she'd hold my hand at every doctor's appointment, how she promised me forever. Now forever feels like a cruel joke. I can't help but feel like my paralysis gave her an excuse, like she decided I wasn't worth the trouble anymore. I've read stories online about partners who step up during hard times. I thought that's who she was. I thought I mattered more than convenience or physical intimacy. Clearly I was wrong, so Here I am, writing this because I feel trapped, not just in my body, but in this situation. Do I confront her now and risk her kicking me out before I have somewhere to go? Do I quietly plan my exit? Part of me wants to humiliate both of them publicly, but another part of me just wants to disappear. I keep replaying the moment I saw. Them in the backyard. I can't run. I can't fight. I can barely stand, literally. And the person I trusted most is the one stabbing me in the back. Reddit. I don't know what to do. Update 1. She finally showed her true face. But I'm getting mine back. I didn't plan it. I'd been bottling everything up since the night I saw them in the backyard, thinking I needed to be strategic, careful. But when Anna came home, too. Nights ago, smelling like Mark's cologne, the same overpowering, musky garbage he always drowned himself in, I lost it. She was in the kitchen, humming to herself while unpacking groceries that looked suspiciously like a couple of convenience store snacks and a bottle of cheap wine. My voice came out low and shaking. "How long have you been sleeping with Mark?" The bag in her hands froze. She turned around slowly, eyes wide like she'd been caught stealing, but still thought she could talk her way out of it. "What?" She laughed way too loud. "Are you serious right now? Where is this even coming from?" I told her I'd seen the texts, that I'd watched her in the backyard with him, that I'd read the disgusting things they'd said about me. Her face shifted in seconds, from fake shock to anger to something almost smug. "You've been spying on me? God, that's pathetic." "Pathetic?" I said, my voice cracking. "Pathetic is cheating on your husband while he's stuck in a wheelchair." That's when she dropped the mask completely. "Do you think this is easy for me?" she snapped. "I'm 34 years old, I have needs, and you can't even— You know what, forget it. You wouldn't understand." I couldn't believe it. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't even embarrassed. She was blaming my disability. "You vowed to love me in sickness and in health," I said quietly. "Yeah," she scoffed. "And I didn't realize sickness meant forever. I didn't sign up to be your nurse for the rest of my life." That line? That one will stay with me until the day I die. I told her I wanted her out. She laughed again, saying this was her house too and she wasn't going anywhere. That's when I called my sister. She lives 2 towns over, and thank God she's the type to drop everything when I need her. While Anna was upstairs cooling off, my sister arrived with her fiancé. They didn't say much, just came in, calm but firm, and told Anna she needed to leave for the night. Anna tried to protest, but my sister's fiancé is built like a linebacker and simply started carrying her stuff out to the porch. Before she left, she said, "You'll regret this when you realize no one else will put up with you." Yeah. Okay. The next day, I filed for divorce. It took every ounce of energy I had just to get into the lawyer's office, but I did it. My sister insisted on coming with me to make sure I didn't back out. We're still sorting out the details, the house, the finances, all the legal mess. But I made it official. She's not my wife anymore. Of course, Mark decided to make his move next. He came by while my sister was out getting groceries, leaning against my doorframe like some wannabe movie villain. "She's better off. Without you, man," he said with that smirk I've always hated. "You can't give her what she needs. Don't take it so personal." I stared at him for a long moment before saying, "You're right. She is better off without me. And soon she won't be with you either. Guys like you never stick around for long." He chuckled like I was telling a joke, then sauntered off. I swear that man's arrogance is almost worse than his betrayal. Almost. That night I couldn't sleep. Everything felt heavy. My body, my chest, my thoughts. I kept picturing them together, hearing Anna's voice saying she didn't sign up for this. And then, the next morning, something happened I didn't expect. Hope. I had an appointment with my neurologist to review my condition. Most of the time, these appointments are the same. A few tests, a lot of keep doing your therapy. But this time, he told me there was a new surgical procedure being trialed in the state. It's not a miracle cure, he warned, but if it worked, it could give me partial mobility again, maybe even let me walk with assistance. I just sat there, staring at him. For the first time in months, I felt that spark in my chest again, the one that says maybe you're not done yet. The catch? The surgery would be risky, expensive, and require months of brutal rehab. There were no guarantees. I could go through all of it and still end up in the same chair. Part of me was terrified. But another part, the part that's been quietly, screaming for me to fight, knew I had to try. So here's where I'm at now. I'm angry. I'm hurt. I'm still processing the fact that my marriage wasn't what I thought it was. But instead of letting that eat me alive, I'm going to use it. Anna and Mark think they broke me. They think I'm going to spend the rest of my life bitter and stuck. They don't realize they've just given me the best motivation I've ever had. I've started making calls to insurance, to my doctor, to my sister to help with logistics. If I get accepted for this procedure, I'm going all in. Not for Anna, not for revenge, but for me. That said, I won't pretend the thought of them seeing me walk again doesn't feel like poetic justice. I can picture it now. Me, standing, tall, shaking Mark's hand just to watch the smugness drain from his face. It's not going to be easy, but after everything that's happened, I'd rather fight and fail than spend the rest of my life wondering if I could have gotten back what they thought they stole from me. To everyone who commented on my original post, thank you. You made me realize I'm not alone in this. You reminded me that I still have something worth fighting for, my own damn life. I'll update again when I know more about the surgery. For the first time in a long time, I'm looking forward to something. Update 2. I walked into the room and watched their faces drop. The surgery happened 2 months after my last update. I won't sugarcoat it. It was brutal. They fused parts of my spine, implanted a specialized nerve stimulator, and grafted tissue, in hopes of restoring partial function. The risk was high, the recovery even higher. When I woke up in the hospital, I couldn't feel any difference. My doctor reminded me, "It's going to take time. You might not notice anything for weeks." My sister stayed by my side that first night, reading me the encouraging Reddit comments you all left. I clung to them like life rafts. The first week of rehab felt like torture. My body screamed with every attempt at movement. I spent hours each day hooked up to machines that sent electrical signals into my muscles, forcing them to twitch and contract. My therapist, Jared, was this tough, ex-Marine who didn't let me slack for a second. The first big win came 3 weeks in. I wiggled my toes. It was barely perceptible, but Jared saw it and grinned. "That's the start, man. You got this." From there, it was incremental, shifting my weight in the chair, engaging my thigh muscles, standing for a few seconds in parallel bars. Each little victory made me hungrier. The support network rehab wasn't just about the exercises. It was about the people. I met Sarah, a young woman recovering from a motorcycle accident, who could outcurse a sailor but also had the biggest heart. We'd push each other through the toughest days, trading sarcastic comments between reps. I also reconnected with my old friend Tyler, who started driving an hour each weekend just to visit. He'd bring takeout, and we'd watch old basketball games, like nothing had changed. For the first time since the accident, I felt like I was more than the guy in the wheelchair. And my sister, I don't think I'll ever be able to repay her. She handled my paperwork, coordinated with doctors, kept my spirits up. She told me every day, "When you walk again, you're buying me the biggest damn dinner you can afford." Her downfall begins about 2 months post-surgery. I got a text from an unfamiliar number. "It's me. Please, can we talk?" It was Anna. She claimed Mark had betrayed her. Apparently, he'd been seeing someone else behind her back. Shocking, I know. She wrote that she'd made a mistake, that she missed me, that she didn't realize what she had until it was gone. Didn't respond. A week later, I heard from a mutual acquaintance that Mark had been using her for months, bragging about stealing the cripple's wife like it was some kind of sick game. And once she was no longer convenient, he moved on. She'd tried to confront him, and he'd laughed in her face. I wish I could say I felt sympathy, but honestly, it was just empty. Whatever love I'd had for her had died in that backyard. The full comeback 6 months after surgery, I was walking short distances with crutches. I'd moved into a small apartment my sister helped me find. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I could cook for myself, do my own laundry, even shower without assistance. I started working again, part-time at first, doing project consulting from home. The first paycheck I earned post-accident made me feel like I'd won the lottery. And then, the real breakthrough, walking unaided for 50 feet. My therapist recorded it for me, and I must have replayed it 100 times. Every time I watched, I thought about Anna and Mark seeing me like that. Not because I needed their validation, but because I knew it would crush the smug narrative they'd built in their heads. The revenge moment. The opportunity came during a local charity fundraiser. At the community center, Tyler's company was sponsoring a booth, and he invited me to come along. I hesitated. What if I ran into people from before? But something in me said, go. You've earned this. I walked in wearing a tailored suit, thanks to Sarah for convincing me to ditch the baggy rehab clothes and carrying myself like I'd never missed a step. Heads turned. Some people knew about my accident and couldn't hide their surprise, and then I saw them. Anna and Mark standing near the silent auction table. She looked older somehow, worn down. He still had that same arrogant posture, but now it looked forced. Anna spotted me first. Her jaw actually dropped. Mark turned, did a double take, and for the first time since I'd known him, he didn't smirk. I strolled up, calm as anything, and said, "Hey, Mark. Anna. Been a while." Anna's eyes darted to my legs, then back, to my face. You're walking?" "Yeah," I said casually. "Turns out I'm harder to keep down than you thought." Mark shifted uncomfortably. I smiled at him and added, "By the way, I hear you've been keeping busy. Must be exhausting juggling all those women." The color drained from his face. Anna's lips tightened. I didn't stick around for their excuses. I just clapped Mark on the shoulder, hard enough for him to stumble slightly, and walked away. The sound of whispers following me was the sweetest music I've ever heard. Reader satisfaction. That night, I went home, poured myself a drink, and sat on my balcony watching the city lights. For the first time in years, I felt free. Not just from the wheelchair, but from them. They didn't break me. They forged me into someone stronger. I've got a long way to go. My legs still tire easily, and I'll probably always have some physical limitations. But I'm living on my terms again. I'm working, I'm surrounded by people who actually care, and yes, I've even started seeing someone. Sarah and I are taking it slow, but she's been there for the ugliest parts of this journey. She knows the scars, both visible and invisible, and doesn't flinch. When I think back to the man sitting in that chair, watching his wife kiss another man through the blinds, I wish I could tell him, hold on. This isn't the end. It's the start of the fight that's going to save you, and I think he'd believe me. Final update. Sometimes life breaks you, so you can rebuild into someone stronger. It's been just over a year since my surgery, and I can finally say it without hesitation. I'm not just back on my feet, I'm living again. When I wrote my first post, I was broken in every way a person can be. My body was failing me, the person I loved most had betrayed me, and I felt like my life had shrunk down to the size of my wheelchair. Now I wake up every morning in my own place, make my own coffee, and take my own steps, literally, into whatever the day holds. Physically, I'm better than my doctors ever predicted. I still have limitations, sure. Stairs are a workout and my legs get tired quickly, but I can walk unaided most days. I still keep a cane handy for longer outings. And honestly, I've learned to see it as a badge of honor rather than a sign of weakness. It's a reminder of how far I've come. Emotionally. That's been the real rebuild. I'm no longer carrying that constant weight of anger toward Anna or Mark. I don't need to. Their lives have taken care of the consequences for me. What happened to them? I didn't go looking for updates on them, but word gets around in a town like ours. Mark lost his job at the construction company after getting caught in some shady side deals. Last I heard, he's working odd gigs and living in a rented room above a bar. Anna stuck around with him for a while after I walked away, but when the money dried up, so did his devotion. She's back working retail, hopping between apartments, and, if the rumors are true, burning bridges with just about everyone she knows. I can't lie and say there wasn't a flicker of satisfaction when I heard those things. But it wasn't the roaring sense of victory I thought I'd feel. It was more like confirmation. Proof that letting them go was the best decision I could have made. My life. Now my sister is still my rock, though I try not to lean on her quite as much these days. I've built a solid group of friends, including some I met in rehab who've since become family to me. We have this unspoken bond. We all know what it's like to start over from the bottom. Work is steady. I took on more consulting projects and even started mentoring younger project managers. It's funny. I thought my injury would kill my career, but it's actually made me a better leader. I'm more patient, more focused, and less likely to waste time on things that don't matter, and yes, I'm seeing someone. Sarah and I started officially dating about 6 months ago. She's been there through the worst of my recovery, and we've built something based on patience, respect, and a level of honesty I didn't know I was capable of before. She doesn't see me as the guy who used to be paralyzed. She just sees me. Lessons learned. If you had told me a year and a half ago that my wife's betrayal would become the catalyst for the best chapter of my life, I would have called you insane. But that's exactly what happened. Her cheating shattered me, no question about it. It broke the trust I had in people and left me feeling worthless. But it also forced me to face a choice: stay broken or fight like hell for something better. I fought. And here's the thing. That fight wasn't just about walking again. It was about reclaiming my sense of self, about proving to myself that I could still build a life worth living, even if it looked nothing like the one I'd planned. The accident took my legs for a while, but the betrayal? That's what lit the fire that got me back on my feet. Final words to you. All I've said it before, but it's worth repeating. The Reddit community and the people who reached out privately played a huge role in this journey. Strangers read my story, offered advice, cheered for my small victories, and reminded me that I wasn't alone in the dark. If you're reading this and you're where I was back then, stuck, betrayed, convinced life is over, please hear me. It's not. The pain you're in right now might be the very thing that pushes you to create a life you never thought possible. I don't think of myself as a survivor anymore. Survivors endure. I rebuilt. And rebuilding means you get to choose what the new version of you looks like. Sometimes life breaks you. Sometimes it does it in ways that feel cruel and unfair. But if you let it, that break can be the start of something stronger. I'm living proof. So here's to walking, not just on 2 legs, but into a future I fought for. And here's to everyone out there still in the fight. You've got more in you than you think.